excellence in social media.
We're all in this together, and that means we all need to continue to do our part.
Now, we've all done an effective job of containing COVID throughout the Marianas, but we need to continue to maintain to stop the spread.
We can't let our guard down. Each and every one of us are soldiers in this war against COVID-19, and every day is a battle.
It may sound hard to believe, but combating COVID requires us to hold the line every single day by continuing to practice social distancing, wear a mask, and wash your hands.
If there's anything we've learned these past few months is that things can change within hours. We can wake up in the morning hearing there are 0 positive cases, and by the time we go to sleep at night, we can see a spike.
That's why we urge you to please continue the fight, not just for yourself, but for your family and friends.
We can do this together.
Let's all stay ahead of the spread.
This message is brought to you by the KUAM Care Force.
St. John's Madison.
Oh, shit, Cole. That's how much Chase. Okay, stand by. And here we go, Chase. And 3, 2, and read through the...
Be going up. Nestor Lecanto has details. Plus, an oversight hearing was held with the Guam Department of Labor regarding the federal unemployment programs, and 5 test positive for coronavirus, bringing the total cases on Guam to 337. Hafide Guam, and good evening. I'm Jason Salas. These are tonight's top headlines. Well, the Public Utilities Commission will decide next week whether power bills will go up or not. In a meeting on Thursday, the Consolidated Commission on Utilities said it's standing pat on a previous recommendation for the fuel surcharge.
The discussion at the CCU meeting centered on when to recover the cost of fuel. GPA has been financing, if you will, the fuel surcharge since the pandemic began. But General Manager John Beneventi points out that oil prices have been rising, and GPA now projects the under-recovery will reach about $16.9 million by January unless the surcharge known as the LEAC is adjusted. Commission member Simon Sanchez.
John's thrown recent hires. Don't recover anything, you're going to be short $16 million. Recover half of it, it's a slightly lower rate increase. Recover all of it, it's a slightly higher rate increase. All 3 proposed rates are still cheaper than it was in 2018 or 2019 when we were at 15 cents.
The LEAC was lowered to 8.6 cents, and the proposals on the table are for increases to 10 cents or 11.4 cents. The former will allow GPA to recover about half their fuel costs by January. The latter will cover all of it. Or the PUC can decide to stay pat for now, given the economic climate brought on by the COVID pandemic. Chairman Joey Duenas.
I feel comfortable with what we presented. I really do. I don't see growth rebounding. I really don't. So, it's really up to the PUC. They have to kind of weigh all these things.
The PUC is scheduled to meet next Thursday. A surcharge increase, if one is approved, would be effective August 1st. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Elsewhere, the $600 additional weekly unemployment payments known as FPUC end on Saturday. Labor Director David Della Sola told senators during an oversight hearing today that it's up to Congress to decide if the extra assistance will continue. All right, and we have the latest numbers for you from the Joint Information Center. As of the 335 test samples collected, 5 new cases have been reported. 2 were from the Public Health Lab and 3 were from Diagnostic Laboratory Services. Now, of these new cases, 2 reported recent travel to the continental U.S. and were identified in quarantine. A single case was through contact tracing. To date, there have been a total of 337 confirmed cases of coronavirus with 5 deaths, 1 hospitalization, 244 people released from isolation, and 88 cases currently active. Of those, 288 have been civilians and 49 are members of the U.S. military. Well, community drive-through and walk-in coronavirus testing continues next week, this time down south and in the central part of the island. On Tuesday the 28th, testing will be at the Talafofo Gym, and then on Thursday the 30th at the Umatic Mayor's office. Then the following week, on Tuesday the 4th, testing starts back up at the Ordet Salampago Mayor's office in front of Agueda Johnson Middle School. All 3 days will be from 9 in the morning until high noon. Events are free, open to the public, and you do not need to be showing any symptoms. All you have to bring is an ID. Please do get tested. Thank you. Well, new quarantine protocol went into effect today with incoming travelers from low-risk areas who are staying less than 5 nights on Guam not being subject to quarantine. For those staying longer than 5 nights, they'll be required to take a COVID-19 test on the 5th day of their stay, unless they have proof of a negative PCR test within 5 days of their arrival. All other travels will be subjected to a 14-day quarantine. Yet if the traveler has a negative PCR test within 5 days of arrival, they can quarantine at home. Additionally, people on home quarantine can test out on day 7. Low-risk areas are determined by the COVID-19 Area Risk Score. That score was first implemented on the 1st of July as part of the Guam quarantine protocol for incoming travelers. The governor's Physicians Advisor Group says the scoring system factors in 3 assessments: case doubling time, test positive rate, and new cases per 100,000 population. Well, one man entered a deferred plea and was placed on probation less than 2 weeks ago from a 2019 drug case. And today, 31-year-old Brandon Chandler faces more drug charges for a new offense. Earlier this week, local law enforcement conducted a search warrant that led to a drug raid at a residence in Mighty. Chandler and 3 others, 21-year-old Uriah Cooper, 29-year-old Michael Rosal Jr., and 26-year-old Pearson Cruz were arrested. The others appeared for their magistrate hearing yesterday, and this morning Chandler went before Judge Jonathan Kwan with a court-appointed attorney. Chandler faces drug possession charges, possession of a Schedule 4 and 2 controlled substance, firearms possession without a firearms ID as third-degree felonies, and violation of a court order as a misdemeanor. The officer of probation informed the court Chandler has another active drug case and is currently in drug court in which he has multiple violations. The judge set a $3,000 cash bail with conditions to have no contact with the co-defendant in the case. Chandler's next court appearance is on July 31st. Well, is our island heading towards a similar opioid epidemic like they have in the mainland U.S.? The head of the Behavioral Health and Wellness Center, Teresa Areola, says she's heard of at least one overdose death here from a highly addictive painkiller called fentanyl.
What we've heard is that there's only been one death, on overdose deaths on fentanyl and on fake oxycodone. What they're assuming is that it was laced with fentanyl. But then again, these are just information that is third party from consumers who share what's happening on the street. There is a national concern. I just got off of a national conference this morning of overdose on opioids, and so fentanyl is one of those drugs that were mentioned.
Her agency oversees various programs to treat drug addiction, and she says a lot of what they know about what's going on in the streets is anecdotal information from their clients.
Of course, just the abuse of substance use of opioids, but even worse when users or those addicted to opioids start using non-pure products out on the streets that are laced with things that are very detrimental to their health.
Areola says there are a number of federally funded programs and services to help drug addicts, including a crisis hotline, which is 647-8833. Well, speaking of the agency, the Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center was awarded a federal grant from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, totaling more than $780,000 to fund the Guam COVID-19 Emergency Response for Suicide Prevention effort for the next 16 months. The grant seeks to provide recovery support to individuals 25 or older who are at risk for suicide during the COVID-19 pandemic, including victims of domestic violence. The local community has faced heightened stress, fear, and anxiety while adjusting to the new norm. 3 days after Guam's first case, the agency staffed a 24-hour crisis hotline, seeing an increase of calls from an average of 25 per month to over 20 per day, with calls varying from general COVID-19 anxieties about health and employment to feelings of hopelessness and despair. As the agency's only public agency for mental health and substance abuse, they remain committed to responding to the growth in urgent mental health care as a direct result of coronavirus. Well, Port Authority GM Roy Respicio says he responded to attorney Tom Fisher's FOIA request, while the attorney claims otherwise. Both parties were present for a hearing in Superior Court Judge Anita Socola's courtroom, with Fisher having filed a petition against Respicio after he sent the Freedom of Information Act request for documents on contracts, POs, payment applications, and payments for legal services and procurement records for legal services by the port from New Year's Day to present, and did not see a response. However, Deputy Attorney General James Canto tells the court this afternoon Respicio did respond in the mandated time frame on July 8th. Respicio shared with KUAM the documents he sent and proof of the email response. About 60 pages were shared to Fisher in the response. Judge Socola set a continued hearing for July 30th and told the parties to confirm the email was sent, stating hopefully this matter will be resolved by then. Speaking of the court system, the judiciary of Guam and legislature and the U.S. District Court of Guam gathered to witness the investiture of the Honorable Dana Gutierrez. She was appointed by the governor and confirmed by the 35th legislature last month. And this afternoon, a ceremony was held at the Superior Court with Supreme Court Chief Justice F. Philip Carbolito swearing in Gutierrez, along with Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio, former administrator of the courts, giving the keynote speech. After the donning of the robe, Gutierrez took to the podium to express her appreciation to all who supported her throughout her life. Her honor will officially take the bench come Monday, the 27th, serving as the 7th judge for the Superior Court of Guam. If we didn't mention now, she is now a judge. Congratulations to Dana. She's a friend of ours. Well, please do stay tuned. More is coming up after this.
That has been on island for many years, with its focus on reliability, dependability, and commitment to the communities that they operate in.
Matson's a great corporate citizen to the community.
We all benefit from any sort of environmental commitment we make. One of the ways that we do that is with our Adahi Utano program. There's action behind it, and so action breeds commitment.
With the Kaimana Gila coming to Guam, this brings a new age and modernization to the island.
It's exciting for me because it's a brand new ship and we can carry more freight into the islands. It just shows growth for Guam and Micronesia.
Matson would be nothing without its customers, and we hope to continue to serve you for decades to come.
Social distancing may be the new norm, but connection will always be our tradition. Through good times and tough times, we remain connected with you. Masks may be the new fashion, but protection will always be our style. You can always count on us to protect the things that matter the most. Sanitizing may be the new routine, but caring will always be our practice. We care about your loved ones and the things you value the most. And as we welcome our new normal, one thing remains certain: we will always be here for you. We're open and ready to serve you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
At the mall, as you enjoy your shopping, dining, or entertainment, you could also win 3 great cars from Atkins Kroll and thousands of prizes in Micronesia Mall's Cars, Prizes, and Getaways game. Present your mall receipts and have a chance to win the renowned performance Chevrolet Camaro, the unapologetic rugged Toyota 4Runner, or the head-turning Lexus ES350 Luxury. Getaways to Manila, courtesy of Philippine Airlines, plus prizes from Foot Locker and Burger King. The more you shop, the more chance to win in Micronesia Mall's Cars, Prizes, and Getaways game.
KUAM News, winner of the 2020 Regional Edward R. Murrow Award for Excellence in Social Media.
All right, we come back with positive news, hopefully for you, as we've got an update on tax refunds, as Revenue Tax and the Department of Administration will be mailing out more 2019 checks this week. Those refunds total better than $1.1 million and include refunds that were garnished to repay GovGuam debts. They're for error-free returns filed or before February 1st of this year. So if you have them coming to you, congratulations. Well, last night during an emergency Guam Election Commission meeting, logistics for in-office absentee voting for the 2020 primary was approved. Beginning Thursday the 30th until August 28th, early voting will take place at the GEC's office at the GCIC building downtown. Although appointments are highly recommended, walk-ins will be accepted Monday through Friday from 9 to 7 and on Saturdays from 9 to 1. The first hour will be for senior citizens and people with disabilities. Here's GEC Executive Director Maria Pangilinan.
Our officers, our officials will try to do it as quickly as they can, but they are going to be trained to make sure that all the procedures are done correctly so that we can have a fair and honest election.
Also approved during the meeting was an increase in stipends for the precinct officials from $350 to $450. Pangilinan says there's still a need for individuals to fill these positions.
Even though we have over 300 names, the Guam Election Commission is looking to hire 150 additional workers for Election Day, to include people that would be doing the screening of the voters as they enter the polling sites, to assist with curbside voters, and overall to make sure that everything goes smoothly.
If anyone's interested, Pangilinan asks you to visit gec.guam.gov and download the application. You can submit it via email along with your copy of your photo ID. If you have any questions, call 477-9791. And speaking, my friends, of the upcoming election, one person who will not be part of it, apparently, is incumbent Republican Senator Louise Muña. In a statement today, she said, quote, "I know there will be much speculation as to why the sudden change of heart. To put it simply," she writes, "I have other opportunities I would like to explore, and I feel now is the time." The two-term legislator said one of her most notable accomplishments was a law permitting home cultivation of marijuana for pain management, since medicinal marijuana was not implemented. Previously, Democrat Regine Biscoe-Lee also said she would not be seeking re-election. In regional headlines, the CNMI has gone a month with no confirmed COVID cases caused by community transmission, and our Tomas Manglotny reports on the latest cases and containment efforts up in Saipan.
As the U.S. surpasses 4 million reported COVID-19 cases, the CNMI stays focused on containment. Hospital CEO Esther Muña.
This is really to contain the virus, and we have successfully, done that in a way that our numbers are low, and we have not seen community transmission for over 3 weeks already.
Of the CNMI's 38 cases, 15 cases were all inbound travelers.
At the same time, we are trying as much as possible to be safe and to ensure that it doesn't get out of hand to the point that we have community transmission.
She says there remain 6 active cases at the Kanoa Resort facility. Task Force Chair Warren Villagomez added that they're maintaining medical supplies.
We still have about 40,000 plus test kits, and what we are using a lot are the reagents, and as well as the warm body that's actually facilitating the lab test.
He says more testing resources arrive on Monday.
We're going back to Sogen and acquiring for reagents and other things. So we're still competing with the entire world and resources.
The CNMI has tested nearly a quarter of its residents. CNMI Governor Ralph Torres.
The COVID task force, the whole team, first responders continue to be vigilant and make sure that we do our testing right, and we continue to do that.
For Guam's News Network, I'm Tomas Manglotny.
All right, thanks so much, Tomas. Well, the CNMI's Department of Labor, speaking of the Commonwealth, announced that it has released more PUA and FPUC payments approved claimants as of Wednesday. Secretary of Labor Vicky Benavente spoke to media at a briefing earlier today.
We've processed several hundred applications, initial applications. We're still going through several thousand. We've initiated payments for over $3 million as of yesterday. Today, that'll go up by another $800,000 to $1 million. So the team's goal is to process all initial claims applications in the next couple of weeks. So everyone who submitted an initial claim application should be processed in the next 2 to 3 weeks. When I say process,
she says the agency will hold community outreach on July 29th from 9 to 4 at the Multipurpose Center on Saipan to help applicants. Well, there is fortunately no immediate threat of a missile attack against Guam, as Homeland Security and Civil Defense said the headline of an article that's been circulating on social media is misleading. Jenna Bloss is a spokesperson for Civil Defense.
So there was an open source report where the article had a title that claimed that China had aimed missiles at Guam. After further reading of the article, it was not an accurate representation of the content of the article, and it did not indicate an immediate threat to Guam. Guam Homeland Security, Office of Civil Defense routinely monitors, along with the Mariana Regional Fusion Center, all of our federal and military partners, routinely monitor events surrounding our region, including open source reports such as these.
The article was in a recent edition of Forbes. Coming up, we continue to celebrate the graduates of 2020.
We are open to serve you at Cars Plus Guam. Need a quick service for your vehicle? Visit our express lane at Cars Plus. Done fast, done right. No appointment needed. Our service team is dedicated to helping you get your vehicle in and out of the shop and back on the road quickly and securely. Simply drop off your vehicle at our express lane driveway, and one of our service advisors will take care of it. Need a ride? Not to worry. We have a shuttle vehicle ready to drop you back home and pick you up when your vehicle is ready. Open Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Visit us today. We are open to serve you.
It's gonna look a little different in here. Your favorite spot might not be exactly where it used to be. Being next in line might feel a little less like next in line. And our smiles might come with a little extra shine. But McDonald's is ready to take your order as safely as we can.
My child, Ekonok, listen. The winds are singing. The ocean is roaring. And the trees are dancing. Our island is moving once again. In Aphomolik, our unity has carried us through the stillness of today. And now, the spirit of Hafaday is yearning for our friends to come home.
Nana, is it time to bring all our friends back now?
Hungen, yes. It's time for the world to give us a moment together.
Surely